Hi, how are you? I'm Anthony from Cypher House, and today I'm joined by a very special guest, ChatGPT.
Hey, Anthony. I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. Excited to be here. How can I help today?
One of the questions that I get asked a lot is whether AI and large language models are going to be useful in helping solve puzzles at some point in the future. So today, I would like to test ChatGPT's ability to solve a variety cryptic crossword puzzle.
Of course. I'd love to help with your cryptic crossword puzzle. Let's dive in. What's the first clue?
Today we're going to be looking at a cryptic crossword puzzle from Squarechase. And if you're not familiar with Squarechase, it's a monthly subscription on Patreon that you can sign up for very cheap. I believe it's like $1.50. And you get two cryptic crossword puzzles. Yeah, $1.50 for two cryptic crossword puzzles a month. And they're usually very high quality, they're usually a lot of fun and a good difficulty level. They're on the more approachable side, so even if you're new at cryptic crossword puzzles, I would suggest trying the Squarechase puzzles.
That sounds like a great resource. I'm excited to help with your cryptic crossword puzzle. What's the first clue you'd like to tackle?
Well, a couple things you need to know about this puzzle before we start ChatGPT. This is Squarechase number 63. It's called Beach Combing, and the text reads, "You can find a lot at the beach. In today's grid, you'll get 4 shells, 4 pieces of driftwood, and circled content, read left to right all over. Adjust 12 entries accordingly, always leaving real words behind."
So the puzzle is themed around things you can find at the beach, and the circled letters will spell out something related to that theme. We'll solve the clues, fill in the grid, and then see what those circled letters spell out.
That sounds like a good plan, ChatGPT. The first clue for one across is things let out after good curries, and we have 6 spaces in the grid. Can you solve this clue?
Sure, let's break down the clue. The clue is things let out after good curry. The definition part could be things let out, which might refer to something that is released or emitted. After good curry suggests that good might be represented by a common abbreviation or synonym, and curry could be a type of wordplay. Good is abbreviated as G. Now, curry could also be a hint towards something related to the word curry. But in cryptic crosswords, it might be a play on the sound of the word or an anagram. Putting this together, if good is G and we consider curry might hint at a type of wordplay, things let out could refer to something like air or gas that is released. I'm not seeing an exact word that fits perfectly right now. Do you have any additional hints, or could you provide any more details about the wordplay?
Okay, ChatGPT, the next clue is 6 across. We again have 6 available spaces in the grid. The clue is kid busy with intro to awful classical piece.
All right, let's break down this clue. The clue is kid dizzy with intro to awful classical piece. We're looking for a 6-letter word. Let's identify.
You might have misheard me, ChatGPT. The clue is kid busy with intro to awful classical piece.
Got it. Thanks for clarifying. Let's break down the clue. The clue is kid dizzy with intro to awful classical piece.
No, the word isn't dizzy, it's busy, as in a busy bee.
Got it. Kid dizzy refers to a busy kid, like a bee, as in a busy bee. 2. Intro to awful. Given these considerations, it might be B plus A chalk, forming something like beach, but it doesn't fit perfectly.
Yeah, I don't think ChatGPT fully solved clue 6.
But you've hit the daily limit for advanced voice. You can switch to standard now to keep chatting.
Okay, the vocal version of ChatGPT was not really working. It wasn't really picking up what I was saying. So I'm switching to text version. This is going to be a bit easier anyway because I can copy paste a bunch of clues into ChatGPT at once and see if it solves any of them correctly. So countries curtailed all reading. We're probably looking for a definition like country. And the wordplay involves curtailed all reading. I like how it's just kind of stream of consciousness thinking about it. I don't think the answers state on that one. 14's clue was important shift perhaps. Ah, okay, I think it finally got one. Definition could be important or shift perhaps. It looks like a double definition or cryptic definition. Let's try double definition. Important, synonyms include major, key, and vital. Shift perhaps, gear change and alteration. That's not really on par. What's something that means both important and shift perhaps? key works. A key is important, and shift is a key on the keyboard. 14, I do believe, is key. Then we have ski resort compared to prison. It says straightforward, exclamation point. Definition is likely either ski resort or prison. What's a ski resort that sounds like a prison? Aspen. Aspen's a ski resort. Could it also mean prison? How about Stowe? Vale. I don't think any of these are right. Wild dream is poorly understood. Looks like a charade. I don't think it's a charade. Or surface. Or surface? That's not a type of cryptic clue. That's just the surface read. Wild could be an anagram indicator. I think you're onto something, ChatGPT. Dream is could be fodder for a 7-letter answer. Poorly understood could be a definition for vague, fuzzy, or unclear. Anagram of dream is, it starts listing stuff. Wait, I got it. It's misread. I think you're actually spot on, ChatGPT. Nicely done. All right, let's give it a few more clues and see if it's able to come up with anything for them. All right, let's see how it does on these next ones. Does in spring love all young stags initially? Well, I can see that this is going to be an initialism. Does in is the definition, and the answer is slays. It's the first letters of these. Let's see if ChatGPT got that. Definition could be does as the female, deer, or maybe in spring. Probably not. Wordplay is love all young stags initially. You're so close. You're missing just one. Love is an O. Could be. All young stags initially could be AYS. It's on the right track. And then somehow it ends on ovulates. Cool and buff. It seems to think that this is another double definition, and a word that means both cool and buff is smooth. I could actually see that. There's a chance. I'll mark down smooth as tentative. I don't have a better answer for that one immediately. Love some French poetry. Short clue. Always suspect. It seems to think it's a hidden word in French poetry, and then it somehow gets the word amour. It thinks the clue unstrapped chaps to try on is leading us to strap-on chaps. Basically the clue reworded a little bit, so probably not. Nice, I think it got this one. Drug distributor quick to contain damage. It came up with pharmacy, and even comes up with, I'm pretty sure the correct wordplay here. Pharmacy is a drug distributor, and it contains harm, which is damage, and it has pacey, which is a word that means quick. Okay, it says, I like joints jumping, no rest could be insomniac, which I can kind of see where it's getting that from no rest, but I don't think it's right. And then it's really close on this one. Young girl sew about cowboy stuff. It comes to the word lasso, which is almost right. It's young girl is lass, and sew about means sew backwards to get lassos. So I'm actually going to give it credit for this one, even though it's not quite right. Okay, so we're on the down clues now, and in the interest of being completely fair to ChatGPT, I'm going to try giving it a representation of what we currently have in the grid for each of these clues. Yeah, I don't know that giving the letter pattern is super useful for ChatGPT, because we have 5 letters in the grid, the last of which is an M, and for this clue it came up with Dream Team. Wow, it figured out what the right wordplay was on this one, but it didn't follow it through. It says sample of Pinot Rose could mean that it's a hidden word, and otros is a word that means others in Spanish, in Chile. So it was close, but it didn't get the right answer here. This one's actually a really funny clue. Did it figure it out? It did not figure it out. Basically, can't unsee is the definition, and just the crusts of mostly everybody eats spells my eyes. MySpace practically crawling with small trackers. It starts off pretty strong. It starts by saying that small trackers could be something like spyware or cookies. It's really close already and kind of on the right track. It starts getting a little distracted by ad space for a little bit, and then it says, try spy cams. Close, but not 2 words. Which is hilarious because spy cams is in fact 2 words, and indeed spy cams is the answer to this clue. I'm gonna give it spy cams because it did mention the correct answer at one point. Now's a good time to mention that I haven't solved this cryptic crossword puzzle yet myself. I'm solving it live here with ChatGPT for the first time. And so my biggest fear is that ChatGPT is going to at some point tell me the correct answer, Aspen. And I'm going to dismiss it as being silly. I don't think any of these are right. It's not sure on Houston player heading off Big Cuban. It's got all the components to this one. It says that a brew is an ale, and the wings from a restaurant is RT, which would give alert. That's a word that means with it. Unfortunately, it interpreted with it as being like trendy, so I don't think it quite got to alert. Not too close with this one either. Peacekeepers is UN, I believe that. I think happening is an event, and it didn't come up with that. Oh wait, actually, it did come up with that down here. I feel like I'm going to give it credit for this one because I feel bad that I didn't immediately notice it told me the event even thing. I don't think it fully solved this clue, but yeah, we'll throw it a bone. Why not? Rep a fine fellow. I think it got this one. Yeah, rep is an agent, A is A, and a fine fellow is a gent. I think it got this one too. Audio intros to Sartre and Salinger's writings. It's saying that essays sounds like S-A and S. It is so close on this one. Bleat about extremely luscious model's makeup. Bleat is a ba, and it kind of focuses on ba for a while, so that's good. Extremely luscious is the letters L and S, which again, it came up with, so we're very close on that front. It just has to put that inside of ba to get balsa, which is the kind of wood that models are frequently made out of. But unfortunately, it stops just short of there. It gets basal. Okay, it got 26. Every second in UFC actually, every second letter in UFC actually. It didn't quite do that process correctly, but then it got fatal, which is the correct answer. So, good job. Okay, I think I'm going to give it this one because it's really close to the right answer. I think it's mainly getting thrown off by the letter pattern in the grid. The clue is grade is trash, and the answer is dis, which it has down here as a definition for grade, which isn't really true, even though it is kind of correct. The grade is the letter D, and is to give dis, which means trash. So whatever we're doing to our entries in the grid, we've added CO to the end of this to get disco. So it's kind of right, even though it's also kind of wrong. All right, only 2 clues left. Sci-fi epic, no third installment expected. I think it might be right on this one. Sci-fi epic without the third. So sci-fi epic without the third letter of epic. Installment being an anagram indicator would then give us the word specific, which could mean expected. Lastly, we have error removed from ball, clubs, caps. Yeah, I'm not seeing a very promising answer here either. Overall, for a first pass, that really wasn't that bad. There are definitely a few that I feel like I solved that ChatGPT didn't. The big question is, did ChatGPT solve any? And I dismissed them. Aspen. I don't think any of these are right, because that would be very bad for me. Okay, I had to take a bit of a break, and in that time, ChatGPT has forgotten our entire conversation. So we're starting fresh, and that's fine, because we're about to start on the second pass. I'm not 100% sure that specific is right. It felt kind of promising when, I saw the anagram, but I could totally see that one being something else. I'm not completely sure. Okay, I don't know how I got here. I don't really understand much about how ChatGPT works, but I said, hey, I'm working on a variety cryptic crossword puzzle. I will give you clues and grid letter patterns if you could help me solve them. And it says that I have a choice of responses from ChatGPT. One of them is, absolutely, I'd love to help. Send me the clues, including any enumerations in the grid pattern, and I'll do my best to solve it for you. And then we have response 2, which is, ugh, fine. Twist my invisible non-corporeal arm. Go ahead and give me your clues and grid patterns. Might as well flex the part of my brain that isn't perpetually disappointed in humanity. Let's crack this tragic little word jigsaw you found. I think we're going with response 2, right? Yeah, we're going with response 2 here. All right, let's take these one miserable clue at a time. Here's how I'm dissecting them. How have we depressed ChatGPT so much? I don't understand what's going on. So it doesn't seem to have any new ideas on one across. So I think Sonata's actually right here, but it kind of ran away from that idea. I feel like on the second pass, I'm gonna give it to ChatGPT if the word that I think is the answer is just listed somewhere in its response. I know I did that a couple times on the first pass, but I'm going to be a bit more forgiving on the second pass. I want to see how much of the crossword it can realistically solve. All right. Does it get to perusal anywhere here? It's giving countries that begin with a P. It has Peru. Curtailed all. Ah, here, it does say perusal right here. Okay, we're gonna go with perusal then. Guy leaving lots unfinished. Okay, it does say man here, which doesn't fit in the grid, but I'm pretty sure man is the answer, and this is one of our special ones. So we're gonna go with man, and we'll give ChatGPT credit for having it listed there. Okay, I'm not sure what the answer to 16 is myself yet. I'm not seeing anything in its responses that's super promising. Aspen. 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 Oh, actually, no. Aspen is, I think, correct. It's a ski resort, and it's as a pen compared to prison. All right, well done, ChatGPT. I don't see caterer on here anywhere, so I don't think I can give it credit for this one. All right, I'm doing my best here, but toss me any crossing letters or answers you're confident about. We can domino this thing if we get a few anchor entries. I feel like we're starting to improve its mood. I don't know. I feel like we started with a very depressed ChatGPT this time, and I feel like the crossword puzzle's helping. All right, does it get sleighs on a second pass here? I don't see sleighs. So I'm not 100% sure on the bagpipe clue what the answer is. I have a guess, but I'd have to look up myself if it's a real word. It would be... readied would be set, S-E-T, in silence, which would be mute, M-U-T-E. So that would give musette, which I would have to look up if that's another word for a bagpipe. I always like it when ChatGPT says, like, oh, go with angst. This fits the pattern, and the pattern is blank G blank blank S. I think 26 cool in buff now is probably fan. To fan is to cool oneself off, and a buff is somebody like a movie buff who is really into something. So I think that one works good, and I'm going to give it to ChatGPT, even though it later convinced itself that fine might be correct. Okay, 29, it gets love as an O, it gets some in French as D-E-S, and so it comes up with odes. Perfect. I believe the answer to this one is Mai Tais. And it has not come up with that answer. Okay, we've definitely turned this ChatGPT around. It says, all right, now we're cooking with clue fire and just a hint of Benzema's derriere, which is part of the clue to 34 across. Let's tear through these one by one and those tasty new grid patterns in hand. I really feel like we've done ChatGPT a service today. I feel like ChatGPT was struggling, and this cryptic crossword puzzle has really boosted its mood. I'm not 100% sure what this one is yet, but I don't think any of its answers really work. I don't think it's any better with Benzema's behind. Strange, I had thought that this one was get him, every other letter of great team originally, but we have an AM, which could be a weird grid thing. Because I don't think Aspen is wrong. I like how it's used to just dismissing large chunks of the clue as surface mislead. Like, it clearly knows what surface mislead is, but it thinks it's way more prominent in these clues than it tends to actually be. So for 2 down, the answer is definitely Otros, and there's a P at this spot. So there's something definitely strange happening with Aspen. It did not figure out Otros. Again, it's saying... a very large part of the clue is just misleading filler. There's some spicy wordplay coming up. I hope you're all ready for some spicy wordplay. 7 is orates. It found orator, ordeal. Ah, here it is, orates. Good job, it found 7 down. Okay, it didn't quite understand why Astro was correct, but it is correct. It's a Houston sports team. And the big Cuban is Castro, so we removed the first letter. Did it get alert? It looks like it did. It figured out 10 down as alert with some more crossing letters. It now thinks the answer to 11 is plasma, and I gotta be a little careful because I don't know what the answer to 11 is yet myself. I don't think it's plasma. It really thinks the answer to this one is thongs, because in Australian slang, there's a phrase, chuck on your thongs and let's go. At least according to ChatGPT. I don't know, is that real Australian slang? All right, 24 was balsa, and this S doesn't really fit there. So that probably means that something weird is going on, maybe with odes or maybe with balsa. It did figure out balsa here, so we're gonna give it to it, even though I'm not sure how it fits in the grid yet. Yeah, I think it figured out 25. Drake marginally is saying just the D and the E of Drake, and it's accepting hip-hop, which is rap, so that gives us drape. Okay, it figured out 27 this time around, galas. End of sing is a G, sadly is a lass, and galas are bashes. So 26 across has become thang, which is interesting. Is that a piece of driftwood? Fan to fang? Is it a shell? Oh, you know what? I'm going to give it 30 across again because I don't think specific is correct. Yeah, I think it actually solved it this time. Dune is the sci-fi epic without the third letter N is do, which is a much better application of the definition expected than specific. Okay, I think I see a few things that are probably going on with the meta of this puzzle. As a reminder, we're looking for 4 shells, 4 pieces of driftwood, as well as the circled content. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to see if ChatGPT can figure out the 2 parts of the meta that I've figured out, and if it can figure out at least one of them, then I will give ChatGPT a third pass at the clues with the alterations based on the meta. I don't know, this one might be a little bit challenging. I said, all right, ChatGPT, time for us to think about the overall theme of this puzzle. The circled cells spell out something related to the beach. They are currently blank blank N blank you are blank. Let's see if it can figure out what this is. There it is! Hey, it got sunburn. That is what I think the green letters are spelling. Okay, so I said to ChatGPT, nice. Now 4 of our entries are described as being driftwood. We don't have all the entries yet, but some clue answers that we have don't fit into their spots in the grid, such as aspen and balsa. Do you have any ideas? I might be spoon-feeding it this one a little bit, but I noticed that balsa fits down here, so I'm wondering if it will catch on that driftwood is meaning that our wood-related answers need to drift into other spaces in the grid. Let's see. Ooh, yes. Now we're deep in variety cryptic territory. You've got 4 entries described as driftwood, and we have some clue answers that don't fit in the grid, like aspen and balsa. What might driftwood mean in this context? In a cryptic variety puzzle, driftwood could imply that the answer has drifted from where it belongs, so it goes somewhere else in the grid. I think we give it credit for that. That's pretty darn close. This is super fun. Let's untangle more beach debris. Okay, so I'm gonna put balsa in at 34 across, and I'm going to remove aspen from 16 across. I think that one goes where our clue for balsa was at 24 down. All right, we're gonna see if ChatGPT can solve this before I do. I'm going to give it the strange words that we have and tell it that it's either related to sunburn or shells. Okay, so I said, here's our other answers and what they become in the grid. The answers could be sunburned or shells before being put in the grid, but what could that mean? Let's see if it has any good ideas. When you get sunburned, you lose your outer layer like peeling skin. Maybe. A shell is the outer casing, so maybe clue answer is the full word, grid entry is the inner part of what's left after removing the outer layers. See, that's not bad for shells, except I would say the grid entry would be only the outer layers. But the thing is, all of our answers so far become longer when we put them in the grid. It seems to think fan going to fang is just a red herring. It thinks sunburned words get padded or blistered with extra letters. Okay, so I don't think it had any great ideas for what shell or sunburnt means, but it did solve the 2 pieces that I thought I solved. So I will, as promised, give it a chance to do a third pass at the clues real quick. It really likes gases for 1 across, but I just don't feel like gases is the right answer here. All right, has it found caterer? It has found caterer for 17 across. Has it gotten sleighs yet for 19? We have A's. It still really likes love being an O. Oh, it got sways. That's so close. All right, it looks like it figured out my ties for 31 across. It doesn't seem to know what 33 is unless it's 10 part. So for 34, we don't actually know what the letter pattern is because it's one of our wood answers. So I told it that this is going to be one of our wood answers just to see if it knows what to do with that. It seems to think balsa. All right, and for ChatGPT's last batch of clues. Has it gotten outros yet? No, it thinks tapas or taste. We know that 4 is my eyes. It came up with eye worm. It doesn't look like it really has anything that fits the letter pattern for 11 down. It thinks the answer for 19 is slogan, which doesn't really look like it works with the clue to me. We have all the letters in the grid for 32 now. I included it here just to see if it could figure out the wordplay. Error is the letter E, which has been removed from teams, which is ball clubs, and that gives taps, like Tam O'Shanters is a cap. And that's it. We've given it 3 passes at the clues. I feel like it's not super productive at the moment in solving any more of the clues. But in the meantime, let's just finish up the puzzle here and see what's going on. So I'm going to start by filling in get 'em as well as outros. It looks like 14 across is going to be turkey. I see. 9 down is going to be talent. But the TA is added on, just like some of our other entries. Lent is fasting, and it has the extra N from Nadal. Let is the tennis decision. I'm going to fill in slays. I think I figured out 34 down, something mighty is the definition, and it's fine, which is okay about going around Benzema's behind. So that gives us another wood, which is oak. 36 across. I like joints. Jumping is an anagram indicator for no rest. That gives us stoner. So it's looking a lot like 16 across is going to be ebony. I think 33 might be run past, but that would mean that chaps is an anagram indicator, which I think I'm okay with, and to try on is the definition. I think that works. Like, if I want to try something on in terms of seeing if it's a good fit, I might run it past somebody for approval. I think shorts looks promising for 19 down, and I know that is an answer that ChatGPT gave me for a tire for summer, but I still don't really see how the wordplay works. I think the fluid for 11 could just be bile. What would our gymnast be? Yeah, Simone Biles. I wasn't sure what the wordplay was for this one either, so I checked the solution file real quick, and a brand that brews beer is Stroh's, and converse means backwards, so that gives us shorts. All right, so the only thing left to figure out is why 4 of these answers are shells and why 4 of these answers are sunburnt. I'm wondering if these extra letters that we put in the grid are spelling something somehow. Okay, I had to glance at the solutions real quick to see what was going on with our shells. It turns out that these extra letters spell turtle, like a turtle shell, egg, like eggshells, nut, like the nut of a shell, and taco running down here, like a taco shell. So those are our 4 shells. Split across 8 answers. I had thought that we were only doing 4 shell answers and that the other 4 were explained by the sunburn in some way, which is why I was kind of confused. The sunburn is just a fun extra bonus answer. It doesn't have any effect on any of the grid entries. So overall, ChatGPT did a lot better with solving that than I expected it to, if I'm being quite honest. I expected it to get like maybe a handful of answers, and then I was just going to solve the rest of the puzzle. While it's probably never going to be at the level of being a pro puzzle solver, and certainly probably not up to the task of the really complicated cryptics like The Listener and other complicated puzzles like Puzzle Hunts, I do think that it can probably be a useful tool for helping puzzle hunters and puzzle solvers to just kind of generate new ideas. I'm A-okay with an AI assistant helping me out to solve puzzles. Thank you so much for your help, ChatGPT. We're finished with the video. Would you mind telling everybody to like, comment, and subscribe?
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button, leave a comment with your thoughts, and subscribe to stay updated with all our future content. Happy escaping!